I'm very moved to be here because I'm bearing the legacy of my family. I'm bearing the name of my grandfather, Michel Gourary, originated from Vienna, Austria, but he didn't manage to flee out from Vienna before the Anschluss. He managed, yes, to come to Latvia and then 4 years in concentration camps. Near the end of the war, he was at Buchenwald concentration camp. He did his first death march, 200 kilometers. But unfortunately, when he was forced to make his second death march, he was shot dead on the side road. It was on the 22nd of April, 1945. A few weeks after, it was already the end of the war. And therefore, I'm so involved in the March of the Living, because we are commemorating what happened during the Shoah, during the Holocaust. And until now, since the inception of the March of the Living, we have nearly 300,000 marchers who march between Auschwitz and Birkenau, a silent march to commemorate all victims of the Holocaust, of the Shoah. And we will do it again on the Hebrew calendar, the Yom HaShoah, on the 18th of April this year. At the March of the Living, and we are delighted to be a partner of the European Jewish Association, we are making a lot of efforts to educate young generations, especially high school students from Europe. And this year we will have once again a delegation of 1,200 high school students from Austria, together with high school students from Poland, Hungary, Romania, Germany, and other countries. The second legacy is the legacy of my father, who passed away 20 years ago. My father was in Brussels, Belgium, and he was a fighter in the Belgian resistance. He was caught by the Gestapo, tortured, but managed to survive. And the third legacy is from my mother, 100 years old, long life, good health, and she was saved with all her family by Righteous Among the Nation in Belgium, Brussels. So that was happened to many, many Jews. Too many were victims. Some of them managed to fight against the Nazi, and some of them were saved by Righteous Among the Nation. We have the privilege to have together with us a Holocaust survivor, Gideon Lev. Gideon was at the Terezin camp. We heard his story yesterday. He was amongst the 15,000 young Jews, children, who were in Terezin. Out of them, only 92 survived. 92 out of thousands. And we would like to ask him to share his insights. Gideon, bevakasha.
I'm smaller, so I have to lift lower. All right, I'm going to be very short. I lost right here, in this place, my grandfather. He is someplace here. I show you a picture. This picture was taken in 1938. Here is my grandfather. Here am I, my father, and my grandmother. But my grandfather died here 3 years after he arrived here. More than 80 years ago, I came to this place, Theresienstadt. Not a kleine Festung, not a stockade, but the camp itself. All I can tell you, it was horrendous. On a day like this, I walked for 3 kilometers from Bohuševice to where you today see the end of the railway line. There was no railway line from Bohuševice to Theresienstadt. We walked in cold, in rain, in snow, schlepping our baggage until we got to our Kaserne, to our barracks. The barracks where we stayed 10, 12, sometimes 14 people in one room. Terezin was not a death camp, but it was a horrific place. How I survived, I cannot always remember. But children don't want to die. Children want to live. And somehow I made it. Probably because my mother worked hard and they kept her as a slave labor for the German war industry. So it is truly very moving to be here again with all of you. Really. One more thing I want to do is I want to read you a poem. I will read it in 2 languages. It was originally written in German by Ilse Weber. Ilse Weber spent 2.5 years here in the concentration camp of Terezin, and she took care of elderly people. Then she was sent to Auschwitz together with her daughter, and from there into the gas chamber. I find this poem very moving. I will read it first, the translation into English, and then in the original German. A procession of tired old people moves through the city. Figures bent and heavily burdened towards the train station. With eyes sightless from tears, with feet that walk only with great pain. This is how they walk. Torn from children, once more expelled, robbed of their last possessions. This is how they walk in silence, in their hearts, worn down by dread. In desperation echoes the name of the Almighty, a plaintive. Why? Durch die Stadt zieht ein Zug von müden Alten, schwer beladene, gebaugte Gestalten, zur Bahnhof, mit Augen, die von Tränen nichts sehen, mit Füßen, die mit Schwärzen gehen. So gehen sie dahin. Von den Kindern gerissen, auf Neues vertrieben, des Letzten beraubt, was ihnen geblieben. so streiten sie stumm. In ihren Herzen zermürbt vor Gräueln, klingt verzweifelt auf des allmächtigen Namen ein Klagen. Warum?
Thank you, Gideon, for your powerful message. And this poem that you read from Elsa Weber is a testimony of the resilience of the people who were here. Despite the harsh conditions, they managed to write poems, to help each other. As you said, she helped other elderly people. And that's also the beauty of what those people managed to do here, despite all these conditions. Gideon, you are severely malnourished here. Witness public executions, beatings, torture, harsh conditions. But yes, something that is exceptional, and that's your specific testimony, legacy. Obviously, when you are listening to a testimony, as Elie Wiesel said, when you're listening to a witness, you become a witness by yourself. And that's also what we have to do. We are here gathered because we have a mission. And our mission is very clear. We are here gathered to fight against anti-Semitism, to fight against Holocaust denial, and also against the delegitimation of Israel. And all this should happen when we say very clearly and loudly, not on our watch. So now I would like to call upon our champions, you, political leaders, who are doing such a fantastic work to fight against anti-Semitism, to fight against Holocaust denial, to fight against the legitimation of the State of Israel. And we must work also to enlarge the definition of IHRA, because IHRA, the working definition of anti-Semitism, is exactly what it's all about. We must fight against anti-Semitism, but also against the new forms of anti-Semitism. When it's related to the State of Israel, single out at the Jewish state amongst all nations, to delegitimate the State of Israel is also something that we are fighting. So I will call upon our dear political leaders. So first, the Deputy Minister of Justice of Bulgaria, Ms. Maria Pavlova. Come from this side and light up a candle and stay here until we will finish. That's all. That's all. Now I call upon the State Secretary, Ministry of Justice of Slovenia, Dr. Sebastian Zbičajnik. Now I call upon the member of the Bundestag, our dear friend Mr. Frank Müller-Rosentritt. Now I'm calling upon the Vice Chair of the Hungarian-Israel Parliamentary Friendship Association, the group, Mr. Ifstan Hiller. I call upon le député de l'Assemblée nationale française, M. Stéphane Bouchou. I'm calling upon the chairman of the European Jewish Association, Rabbi Menachem Margolin. I'm calling upon the new managing director of the European Jewish Association, Mr. Yorgos Papadakis. I'm calling upon the chief rabbi of Netherlands, Benjamin Jacobs, who is also a member of the advisory board of the European Jewish Association. I'm calling upon Gidon Lev, Holocaust survivor. And now I'm calling upon Mr. Moshe Hayun, the chief cantor of the Jewish community of Freiburg in Germany, to say the prayer for the martyrs of the Holocaust. El Maleh Rachamim.
El Mole Rachamim Shochen Bamerami Hametzem Menucho Nechono Tachas Kanefe Ashechino Bemalos במעלות קדושים וטהרים כזוהר הרקיע מאירים ומזהירים אלה נשמות 6 מיליוני אחינו בני ישראל, אנשים, נשים, ילדים וילדות, שנהרגו, שנשחטו, שנשרפו, שנחנקו חיים, שנטבעו ושנקברו חיים בידי הנאצירים ועוזריהם משאר העמים, יימח שמם. באושוויץ מיידנק Treblinka, Mauthausen, Terezin, ובשאר מחנות השמדה, ומסרו נפשם על קדושת השם. בעבור שאנו מתפללים לעילוי נשמותיהם. לכן בעל הרחמים יסתירם בססר כנפיו לעולמים, ויצרור בצרור החיים את נשמותיהם. בגן עדן תמנו חוסום, אדוני ונחלוסום, וינוחו בשלום על משכבם. ונאמר אמן.
Amen. you can be returned to your places. And now I'm calling to the chief Rabbi Benjamin Jacobs, who will say to us a few words, and then he will say the prayer for the dead. Then we will have a minute of silence, and then we will make the wreath ceremony.
I'm impressed by the words of the testimony of the survivor of Theresienstadt. And I feel very small and honored that I was privileged to stand next to him. But we should know that his power is rare. The most survivors who survived did not survive. One of them told me that after far of the majority of the Jews from a certain concentration camp were demanded to leave on a death march in order that the place would be clean and no signs anymore of what happened, a few stayed behind. A few of the prisoners of the Jews. They were already half or three-quarter dead. And then two of them, that's what the survivor told me, start fixing the windows in order it would be less cold for the people who could not move anymore, so ill they were. And after that was done, the half-dead survivors collected some crumbs of bread and gave it to the two people who tried to close the windows and fight the cold. At that very moment, told the survivor me, we were free. Because till that time, the normal was to steal. And from that moment, that the normal stealing was stopped, and people could say thank you one to the other, that was the moment I felt redemption. Why? Why are we gathered here today? To learn from the past, a call for education to the youth? Are we here together because what happened 80 years ago, the Holocaust, Theresienstadt, could happen tomorrow and even today and yesterday again? Is that the reason we're here standing together? But are we able to learn from the past? I'm afraid that the only lesson we can learn is that mankind never learns from history. Or are we gathered here to understand